afternoon, morning everyone. This is an MSI Xtra with Ian Husbands, and today I'm having a chat with Monte Pittman. Monty was on episode 47, the first one of 2012, and with Somewhere in the Middle got Song of the Week, and we decided to have a chat with Monty. So Monty, hi.
Hello. Hi Ian, thanks for having me on here.
How you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. It's a lovely sunny day in Southern California. How's it there?
Well, it's dark now. I mean, it's 20 past 8 here in the UK, so a bit cold, but it's been a nice sunny day besides that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Proper winter's day. So, MSI episode 47, Monte Pittman gets Song of the Week with Somewhere in the Middle. What's your thoughts? How do you feel about that?
I was thrilled when I saw that, and you know, a lot of the comments, it's things that I had thought about when doing the song. I almost put a guitar solo on there, but I wanted it to be something that I could play acoustically anywhere. If I had a guitar solo in there, I wouldn't have any music behind the guitar solo. So that's the reason.
Okay.
I went that way. But yeah, I was thrilled. What a great way to start the year.
And I think I'd be right in saying Lisa, your manager, put your songs up. So did you know anything about the show before you watched it, or?
No. She had found out about it.
And so, did you actually sit and watch the show? I mean, what were your thoughts on the show and its relevance to indie music at the moment?
Oh no, I heard it.
You didn't watch the video, but have you heard the whole show, or?
No, yeah, I only heard the audio from that.
Right. And what do you think of the relevance to indie music at the moment that we bring with doing this for people like yourself?
Well, music always kind of comes back to its roots, and that's why I see everything kind of going right now. And it's kind of like to say, like, the power is kind of going back to the people's hands in a way. And you know, major record labels are, you know, the stories of people getting signed to major record labels are more few and far between than ever. When I first moved to LA, people, you know, there was always somebody that you knew that knew somebody or something who was getting signed to a record label. You don't hear that anymore. So I think, you know, indie bands, it's not like just a sound or like a style of music, but, you know, a lot of people are just doing it on their own right now. I think that's the kind of the way of the future. And the social media that you have now, you can reach out to people in ways that even if you're on a small label, you couldn't, you know, even 10 years ago.
So is Monte Pittman indie, or is Monte Pittman indie looking for a label? I mean, are you trying to do this yourself, or are you out to get, you know, that big deal?
I don't really look at it that way. I mean, if I kept doing it myself, then that's fine, and I could kind of still be my own boss, so to speak. But if somebody were to pick it up and want to put it out, then that would be, I think that would be great. You never know. I wouldn't want to get a record deal and someone say, okay, you got to have a song like this, or you have to have this. Being an indie artist to me means I have full control to do whatever I want to do. You know, there's always a plus side and a negative side to it.
As I said, you've got a manager, haven't you? And have you got any sort of other team around you when you're doing this?
Yeah, I have a great team around me, but the only thing that would be different if I were on a record label, well, you could get my album in like Best Buy, but I don't know how much of a difference that's going to be of where you're going to buy music these days.
Well, I mean, iTunes has got 70% of the market share, they reckon.
Yeah,
and you know, you can get yourself on iTunes for $49 for a full album. So, I mean, you know, they're only really doing the job that an indie artist can easily do on the internet these days.
Right. And in the last 10 years, I've kind of gone off and on. Like, I'd go on tour with Madonna and then come home and then maybe go out or do something with Prong and then kind of back and forth. And, you know, I'm going to keep doing that as long as I get, you know, invited back. And so to a lot of labels, I don't know if they would want to take somebody that, you know, is going to be gone for a year, not being able to really concentrate on the project.
Mm. So, I mean, you are a full-time musician, right? You make a living out of this.
Yes. And I've always wanted to play on my own. and do stuff on my own. It's just I've always been playing with other people or doing, when I first moved out to LA, I started playing with Prong like within the first month of me moving to LA. And then, I was with, started working with Madonna within the first year. So those two, I've always kind of gone back and forth between those two.
So how did you start? I mean, full-time musician is a nice place to be, and the place that a lot of us would like to be. I mean, how did you start out being a full-time musician? I mean, where did you start with a guitar?
You mean when I moved to LA or before?
No, before. How did you start out? Why did you pick up the guitar?
I got my first guitar when I was 13, and I hadn't put it down since. And started my first band when I was 14, and I've just always kind of playing gigs and playing clubs. And the band I was in Texas, we were very popular for the area. And I was 24, and I felt like I just needed, the times were changing kind of, and I wanted to go to LA and see what could happen. Just wanted to work as a professional musician. If I joined someone's band, if I started a band, I didn't really know what. And so I went out, I started working at the Guitar Center in Hollywood.
Proper musician's job.
Well, I thought that I could meet, I'm going to meet musicians there, and maybe I'll find people there to start a band with or something. Who knows? It was just kind of just go and see what comes out of it. And there were some odd and end kind of gigs. I always say that it's bad luck to turn down a gig. So I've done some shows. People are like, "What are you doing? Why are you playing with that person?" I'm like, "Hey, you may learn the strangest lesson from a gig like that."
I think live experience is the best lesson to ever learn. Get out the rehearsal studios, get out the living room with your guitar, and go and play live. It's the only place to be. Yeah.
And so I started teaching guitar lessons after working at Guitar Center. And then from that's where I met Madonna. I started teaching her, and then that was it was like stepping into a whirlwind or something. It's like all of a sudden you stop, and it's a year and a half later.
So you've mentioned the Queen of Pop twice now. Madonna, you have not a relationship, that's the wrong way of putting it, but a working relationship with Madonna. Do you want to tell everyone a bit about that?
Well, yeah, I started teaching her guitar lessons, and then from there she asked me to come on tour with her, and so I've played with her live since the first time we played together was at the end of 2000, so it's going on the 12th year now of playing with her.
And your first gig with her, or live gig with her, tell me if I'm wrong, was the David Letterman show, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first time I ever played with it was on Letterman. She'd only been playing guitar for like a month or something, and she wanted to do an acoustic version of "Don't Tell Me," and so she pulled that off, playing in front of
baptism of fire for you as well, really.
Yeah, it was another situation that went by so fast. It's kind of you take it all in, but at the same time, it's like, oh, that's it. That was it. 3-minute song.
I mean, as much as I'd like to dig the dirt and find out some of the really gritty stories of touring with Madonna, let's not go there. But there must be some great memories you can tell us about, some good stories from being on tour with her. Well, the good stuff you can talk about, that is.
We've been to places that I never would have thought I would have gone to, and that's that's just one of the coolest things with touring. No matter what, is all the places that you go. But we played on the last tour. We played in Israel and Romania. Places like that.
And how many people are you playing to?
For a stadium show, most stadiums are usually about 80,000 people.
How does that feel?
It's great, but it's after a certain distance, you can't really see anything. You only see the people from what the lights kind of shine on.
Yeah, it gets to a point where there's so many people you just can't see them anymore.
Yeah, I like to say it's just like looking at a picture of a bunch of people.
So how does that feel? I mean, obviously, you go and play stadium tours with Madonna, and then you come in and play in sort of the more local clubs and stuff with your own band. I mean, been there, done that one. It's quite a come down. How do you find that?
I like it. It's a good balance, and that's I used to from going back and forth with Prong and Madonna. Madonna is for touring is as good as it gets. I would think, or just it's up there. And with Prong, like the first Prong tour I did, we were in a van, playing little clubs, and it was great. I love that too.
So, just tell us a bit about Prong. I mean, I don't know much about Prong. They're a metal band, right?
Yeah, Prong was one of my favorite bands. I say like growing up. They started in the late '80s, and Tommy Victor. Well, all three of the guys who started the band, they all worked at CBGB's, and
CBGB's. Explain that to an Englishman.
That was a club in New York.
Right.
It's nostalgically famous now.
Okay.
A lot of bands came out of there. And anyway, so Prong broke up in '96, or I guess really you could look at it now like it was a hiatus, because Tommy went on to play guitar for Glenn Danzig and did some other things. But I joined the band when Tommy was starting the band back up, and at first I played guitar, and so then there was two guitars in Prong instead of one. And are you familiar with the band at all?
Not really, no.
The biggest song was this was when I was just a fan, but "Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck" came out in '94.
Right. Okay.
It's a heavy band. They're always known for having these really sharp guitar sounds.
It's probably a band that I'll know if I hear, but by name I sort of don't.
Yeah, kind of like Pantera, Sepultura, White Zombie, that kind of.
White Zombie, that's the band I do like.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So. Anyway, so I played guitar for a little while, and then towards the end I played bass, and just kind of whatever was needed. And now, obviously, because I've got so many other things going on. Everybody's got so many things going on, but Tommy's got a new lineup. And Prong is one of those bands that has a lot of different lineups, and in a way, kind of that new blood has always been what keeps it fresh, in a sense. So,
you're out touring a lot and playing a lot. I mean, you just told me you're a dad. How do you find that with family life?
It all balances out. Sometimes you're home for a while and you need to get out of the house, and it's great. You go on tour, and then you miss home, and there's always something. There's always something going on. Just as I was
dealing with kids and having computer blowouts, fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know what, my computer just froze up right when all that just happened at once.
I mean, that's the perils of doing this sort of thing via Skype, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it's Skype brings such a wonderful dimension that I'm sat in the UK, you're sat over there in California, and we can talk. We can do this.
That's just another element. I mean, as you know, of what I'm talking about, like being indie. Is just what you can do now you couldn't do before. So it's kind of like you don't need a lot of the higher powers that you needed before.
So, I mean, are you one of these guys who grasps the technology and moves forward with that, or do you not just sit and do it your way, the way the way you've been taught, and sort of just carry on like that?
Well, I like to use the technology to help me do things the way I've been doing them my way. Let's say recording, for example. You can take one little part of a song, and I can just like loop a part where it just goes over and over again, and then try different drum beats or something, and or just move this little beat around, and then play the bass to the kick drum for there, and then it has you can pay more attention to the details in a way that wasn't as easy to do before.
Oh, I mean, certain home recording has opened up avenues and doors for so many people with stuff like GarageBand and the Logics and even Pro Tools you can get as a home rig now. And there's a lot of people out there producing music. I mean, what do you use? Do you do it yourself? Do you have a producer?
Yeah, I use Pro Tools. I use what they call it's called an inbox. and it's just kind of like a smaller version of Pro Tools. And I do the drums and Reason, and that's a drum program where you can program everything, and just to make a demo, and then, you know, of course, if you're in the studio recording, have the drummer really play that part, or just to change it up and do it how a drummer would play it.
Yeah, so you sit at home, you write the stuff on a home studio, and then you take it to the band and say, right, this is what we're working towards.
Yes, yes.
And, I mean, you do all the programming yourself, you play the bass yourself, you play the guitars yourself, you sing yourself?
Yeah, I do everything myself. For demo purposes.
And on Mac or PC, it's got to be asked?
Mac.
Good man.
And my laptop I've had since 2005, or beginning of 2006. It's on life support here. That's why it will just stop, and it'll come. And something will just come over the screen and say you need to restart your computer. And then you can't do anything. You just have to turn it off, and you can't even restart it how it tells you to restart it. It says to hold down the power button, but you hit the power button and it just turns it off. It doesn't restart. But then when you do start it up again, there's a message that comes on and says that your computer restarted unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly?
Unexpectedly.
The thing I love about the technology these days is, like, you know, 10 minutes to download, 1 minute to download, 3 minutes to download, and all that business. That's the best part of it for me. Watching that timer go off and on. You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
What you need to do is you need to tap up Madonna for a raise, and get yourself a new Mac.
Well, who's just... all right. All right. I'll do that.
Tell her I said so.
Okay.
So what's what is Monte Pittman now? Where are you at? What you doing? What's going on?
Well, I'm getting ready right now. There's the NAMM show coming up next weekend.
Cool.
Or this weekend now. Yeah. So I'm telling you, time just travels too fast. And I've got a signature guitar that's debuting. It's a new company called Jarrell Guitars, and so the guitar is going to be, unveiled, or it's going to be shown to the public, and I'm going to be there showing off the guitar, and then there's the All Indie Music Awards. Well, now it's called Artist in Music Awards. It's February 10th at the Key Club.
That's in Hollywood, right?
Here in Hollywood, and that's cool. They nominated me for 3 awards: Best Rock Artist, Best Blues Artist, and Best Solo Performer. And then they've asked me to play, so I'm going to be playing that. And then the next night, I'm headlining the Whiskey on a Saturday night.
Very nice.
That's the main thing. I'm looking at getting it over to the East Coast, and just looking at just different options of playing over in New York and Boston and those, the cities over there.
Well, we got lots of friends sort of going to be at NAMM and at the Indie Awards. You got Mark Landamsky from Butterflies Radio, I think, is presenting an award over there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he comes on the show and he's a guest. And we've got some of the guys from Live to Play Network who you should check out over at NAMM. They come on the show, and I think Carrera Drums are going to be there as well. If your drummer's interested in snappy terrier snares, go and check them out as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go never see everything I need to see. There's always something. You would think that you would see it all, but you 4 days you can't even see everything.
I mean, we have a similar one over here called Medem in Europe. I mean, is it similar to that? Just tell us a bit about NAMM, really. We've got a similar thing called Medem.
It's okay, yeah. It's all of the music companies, guitars, amplifiers, drums, microphones, horns, recording equipment, all things like that, and it's all their new products for the year. It's like a trade show, and like Orange Amps will have all of their amps that they're coming out with that year and have a display, and then you just kind of walk around and see all of the all the different guitars and stuff like that.
So are you in the market for something?
I'm always looking to see what's new, what's out. That's usually for pedals and stuff like that. My amps are great. the guitars are sorted. It's really just pedals to get like a different. The pedals are something that's usually updated every year. Somebody's got something new coming out.
So come on, for the techites, what do you actually play through, and what are you playing guitar wise, and that?
Well, Orange amps, Orange Rocker Burb, that's their model, and the Orange 412 cabinets. Celestion speakers are in that, and then all kinds of different pedals, different MXR and Dunlop pedals. I'm always taking things off and putting things.
And your guitar is obviously your signature guitar.
Right, right. But that's just coming out. I've had a prototype this year that I've been playing, but this will be like the real one that comes out. That's called the Jarrell MPS. And before I played Gibsons, and I just got my first Telecaster a year ago. Never had a Fender ever in my life.
And how'd you find that?
I loved it. It's great. It suits me great. And that's one of the things about me having a signature guitar is I'm kind of putting all these things that I would need for different gigs or different projects all in. You have one guitar that can do it all.
So how much has your involvement been with that? Did you design it from the ground up? Have you had a lot of say in the design of it?
Yeah. Well, I took a guitar that I already had a Jarrell that I already had. And then we just started talking about different things we could do with the pickups and different features it could have, and kind of the shape, and just really throwing the ball back and forth. Like I would say, like, well, what if we made the neck like this, and then give Philip Jarrell that idea. Then he would say, well, we can make it like this and do this, and show me what he can do, and then just kind of like going back and forth.
Is the model that's shown on your website the prototype version, the white one?
Yeah, that's still the prototype. Well, it's going to look just like it.
Very attractive guitar.
The things that would be the things that would be different would be the feel.
Right. So you sort of play the prototype and offer up your changes on that and how it should be from there. And
yeah, I got the first one in May and just started playing that. And actually, the second one I just got in November. That's one with a Floyd Rose, and there's going to be 3 models. There's going to be one that has the stop tailpiece, and then one with a Floyd Rose, and then one that's going to be called the Classic that's not going to have all the bells and whistles.
Fantastic. Must be great to have your own signature guitar out there.
It's cool. It's it's a great feeling. It's an honor to be, to just have someone make a signature guitar for you.
You've got another big event coming up as well, haven't you, with Madonna?
Say again?
You've got another big event coming up with Madonna?
Yeah, the Super Bowl is coming up February 5th. So that's exciting. It's probably going to go by like a snap, because halftime shows are, whatever, 15, 20 minutes long, if that.
So what, 3 or 4 songs?
Probably. I don't even know. I have no idea. I'm just gonna buckle in and say, okay, where are we going?
If only it was that easy for the rest of your stuff, eh?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, somewhere in the middle. Let's talk about that. I mean, I really enjoyed that song. I've listened to it again since the show. We've put it in rotation now on MSI Radio, which we launched last night, and people can go and request that if they want to off the radio station.
Oh, great. And,
I mean, the thing for me that still sticks out is that intro where you've just got the programmed drums and the programmed bass. And I thought, doing MSI every week, you sort of get an impression of what's going to happen. I thought, right, we've got some sort of dancey electronica song coming up, and then that lush acoustic guitar comes in over the top. I mean, talk us through the song from there, really. I mean, I liked the change, that surprise of sort of pace, change of pace.
That was one of the last things that we did in the studio, because I didn't like how I had an intro that went for that song, but I didn't like how it came out, and so I didn't want to record anything new, and we really didn't have time to record anything new, and so I said, well, let's just cut some stuff out, because that sound, the where you have the electronic kick and you have the keyboards, there goes for a majority of the album. It's in there. Right. But the other, like the acoustic guitar and the electric guitars and the real drum set and the bass guitar is all on top of it. And so that was just process of elimination coming up with that intro, really.
Fantastic. I mean, it often works like that, I find. And what's the song about? From your, from Monte Pittman's, we can all take our own
just
thing.
What it says, just being, somewhere in the middle. A lot of the songs, I like a lot of the lyrics to where they could mean a few different things.
A bit ambiguous.
Yeah, you could take it this way, you could take it that way. But, a lot of songs are about kind of like the struggle to keep putting wood in the fire, to keep pushing and to keep doing what I'm doing, I guess. It's kind of like, it's too late to turn around now.
You've gone so far, too far to turn back.
Yeah.
What would you do if music wasn't the thing?
I don't know.
You've always just been music.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play music since I was a kid. 3 years old, and I finally got a guitar when I was 13, and I've played ever since then. And playing clubs. The first gig I ever played, I was 14, and it was a teen club, and you had to be 15 to get in. So my friends snuck me in, but thinking back, I don't know how anyone would have known that I wasn't 15, because there's no ID or anything that you have to get in saying you're old enough. So I don't know. Do they ask you for your birthday? Anyway, I don't know how they know the age difference, but excuse me. But for some reason, we snuck me in, and
that's rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Adds a tinge of rock and roll to it.
Maybe they just told me that. I don't know. So yeah, I've always, I've always played. I don't know what else I would do.
So your songwriting comes from personal experience, keeping a roof over your head and all that sort of business. I mean, you must obviously get a lot of influences, sort of touring and across the place with Madonna and Prong. How does that affect your writing? Do you write on tour? Do you save it all up and let it out when you come home?
Yeah, I usually write. I usually don't write on tour because I'm playing all the time, and it's kind of like that's the last thing I want to do is play. I want to do something else because I'm playing guitar all the time. And sometimes when I go on tour, I like to just know the songs that we're doing. It's kind of like no other song exists in a way. So you just put everything into those songs, just as a way of thinking, I guess. I think the stuff that I write for my own personal stuff isn't like anything else that I've done, I guess. But there's definitely elements of everybody that I've played with.
So what is Monte Pittman? What is your influences? What do you like to listen to?
Well, I like acoustic music, and like from Nick Drake, Elliott Smith, Ray LaMontagne, and then I like old Metallica and Pantera and music like that too. Lately, I like old blues. That's all I've been listening to is like old Muddy Waters and Freddie King.
When the rock and roll,
right? When the blues just kind of, when the electric blues, I guess, kind of started, because a lot of the first blues guitar players were all on acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
And so when that kind of thing started, and going back to the whole indie music world and everything coming back to your roots. I don't know if maybe there's definitely some similarities there of being attracted to the old blues music and going back.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
I've been watching these. Have you seen these documentaries, Metal Evolution, and it's a different genre of metal and how it got to where it is today?
I think I've seen a couple of them, actually. Yeah, I think me and the wife sat down and watched a couple of them.
Really well done and really interesting, and for me, really inspiring right now, because you see the story of, like, a lot of these bands that we think of now as like classic bands. They took certain elements from other kinds of music that didn't fit, and they made them work. Like, yes. And everything kind of has a question and an answer. you have this kind of band over here, so then you're going to have this band over here that's completely different. Like you had the glam metal bands, right? And everybody's
the hair metal,
hair sprayed and wearing makeup and tight spandex. And then so kind of like the answer to that is the other side was grunge. Looks like you haven't showered in a week or whatever.
That's where I feel. I'm afraid I was a grunger.
And yeah, me too. But I guess what Monte Pittman is trying to do, I guess for the Monte Pittman music, is to add all the things that I like into one pot and kind of put it all together. So sometimes it confuses people because there's acoustic stuff and then there's rock stuff. Our first album was just an acoustic album with no band on it, just acoustic guitar and vocals. And I did that so I could recreate it anywhere and have it still sound like the album.
Yeah.
And then I can always play the new songs acoustically. I can play the first album's songs with a band. And right now I've been writing for for my next album. And I'm just going to let those songs kind of sit all year and just tweak them here and there, and then beginning of next year start recording the third album. And that is even more, I guess, on the extreme, because there's fast stuff. It's almost like heavy, like almost like old Metallica or Pantera stuff, but then acoustic songs and then blues songs.
I mean, I think the old Metallicas and the Panteras always had that element of acousticness to them. Songs like One.
Yeah, it's guitar driven.
Where it's all sort of very clean guitars at the start and the soft vocals, and it launches into that big heavy part. So, yeah, I mean, I would be interested to hear some of that, because that's definitely where I came from. I mean, Monte Pittman is you, but Monte Pittman is also a band. Let's give the guys a shout out. Let's tell us a bit about the band.
Well, Kane Rashat is the drummer, and he played drums on Pain, Love, and Destiny, and that's where we met. And then he has a band. It's an amazing up-and-coming band here in LA called Vos de France, and Max Whipple is the bass player for that band, and he plays bass with me. And right now, it's just a three-piece band. And later on, I'll add another guitar player again, and then someone to play keyboards, and just kind of keep doing different things. I don't want to just have it be one thing that I do and just stay with that. I want to keep it fresh,
keep it evolving,
always keep it exciting. If you come see me play 1 month, I want you to come back and see another show, and I go, oh, I just saw that,
Yeah.
And just keep, this band can't break up. I can always be Monte Pittman. So.
Indeed. Oh, have you don't know if you've watched it, Pearl Jam 20?
No, I've heard about it, but I want to see that.
Do yourself a favour, sit down and watch that. Very inspiring. They talk a lot about becoming the popular band they didn't want to be. So sort of reinventing their sound and evolving their sound sort of through albums like No Code and Vitalogy. And right. How they sort of lost the different drummers, but it still remained Pearl Jam. Very, very interesting. You'll find it very inspiring.
Yeah, I want to see that. That's a great, it's a great example of a great band. They're 20 years into their career now, and they're going to go down as one of the great bands.
It's evolution, baby.
That's right. Is that their line?
That's one of their songs, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, gig-wise, I mean, you've got obviously the Super Bowl coming up and a few other bits and pieces. I mean, are you gigging a lot? I mean, are you gigging as a band lot, as a solo artist lots, or how's that working?
Just did a string of shows in Texas at the beginning of December, and that went great. We were going to have to cut it short, and then we've later found out we could have kept going, but a lot of it is just time of getting everybody together and being able now this is the hard part, of not having a label or somebody behind you to get you out on tour. So what I'm kind of doing, and we'll see what happens with it, is I've got the I've got the West Coast over here. I want to go get the East Coast and then kind of, bring it all together somehow. And really, touring plans is going to be after the next album. And so then I'll have 3 albums under my belt, I want to have a good variety of stuff that I can play and have a great, exciting show. And for when the next album comes out, then do kind of like book a tour with it and do it right and plan it out, because it takes a long time to plan these things out. And usually with my schedule, I don't know, where I could get a call in a week and say I'm going to be gone for 2 months. You just never know.
I mean, it's literally on that sort of notice a week. Sometimes,
yeah.
Right, so it really is a case of getting it planned and getting it organised for you this time around.
Yeah, so that's always, like getting back to record labels and all that. That's been that's just kind of, it's just part of the territory, really. I've never really sent things to labels. There was a couple of times, and I had a couple of songs from my first album that, I was talking to people about, almost 10 years ago now. We're going on 10 years. And some people really liked my acoustic songs, and then they would say, "Yeah, well, how are we gonna market this? There's always this. How are we going to sell this to people?" And I mean, I know that goes on, and that's the way it works and all that. But it's just, I don't picture Neil Young sitting there writing his songs, going, I wonder how many Cokes I can sell if I put one more verse and Needle in the Damage Done or something, Or
I think, that is a big factor of what is shifting in the industry these days. Now we have got a lot more avenues to get our music out there, and the record companies aren't required as much. And, the professional industry is not required as much. It's becoming much more a homegrown industry. And without that marketing behind you, that is where you do fall over. I totally agree. Neil Young didn't sit down and look for another verse in Needle and Damage Done to sell more Cokes, but it is a factor of selling your music these days. You have to think commercially if you want to get that deal and go down that route.
Yeah, and do you need to go down that route now?
Well, you tell us. I mean,
yeah, I know. I know.
Two albums out. I mean, how are you selling?
Sales are they're fine for what it is. It's
And you're available on iTunes, Amazon,
yeah,
Spotify,
iTunes, CD Baby. When both the first album and this album first came out, they were in the top 10 of CD Baby. This Pain, Love, and Destiny hit number one for the rock albums, and the first album hit the number one for the acoustic albums. And there's always activity going on there, so the sales haven't stopped. You know what I mean? So there's new people are getting turned on to it every week.
And you're happy with your sales. You can always have more, but
you can always have more.
Did you set yourself targets? Have you hit your targets, or?
Not yet, but what do you mean?
Obviously you set yourself targets. You pay X. I don't want to ask you your figures and bits and pieces like that, but you pay X amount on uploads, on studio time, etc. Have you made your money back? You're happy with the money you've made back on it?
It was a really expensive album to make, so that will take a little while.
Right.
But there were so many setbacks and stuff like that. It's just one thing after another. The album's only been out a couple of months now.
Right.
3 months now. So we'll see how it's, as long as it keeps building, then.
So how do you handle that side of things? How do you handle your marketing? Who's doing that for you?
Well, I've got a team. I've got a manager. I've got a publicist. And then the manager's got her people. Publicist has his people. And everybody works as a team. It's like a little community.
And social networking?
Social networking, Twitter, Facebook, Last.fm, Reverb Nation. I'm on all of the sites.
And obviously, do you actually do this yourself, or are they sort of managed accounts that your team look after?
Yeah, everybody has something that they're doing. It's not just me. I mean, everybody evenly has, things that they're doing to get my name out there.
Great. I mean, tell us, drop us your Twitter line and your Facebook address and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Twitter is Monterrific, Monterrific, and then Facebook, it's Monty. I think it's Facebook.com/Monty Lee Pittman.
Excellent. And your actual own web address is
www.montepittman.com, MontePittman.
And what can they find over at your website? What can people expect?
Website is I'm thrilled, super thrilled with my website, and it's got videos of me playing with just about anybody that I've played with, that there's videos of. There's music, there's pictures, there's news, press. This really well done website. I'm thrilled with my webmaster.
I was having a look earlier, actually. I saw the guitar on the front page there, which is absolutely lovely. And you've got loads of videos over there as well to go and watch. So lots of your live stuff with yourself and Madonna with Prong. So huge archive.
Yeah, it's fun to look back on sometimes. Like, wow, I forgot about that moment. I forgot about that.
It's always good to have. So I'll tell you what, we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
Have you covered everything you want to say? Is there any more you want to talk about?
No, that's it. We've just about covered everything.
Excellent.
Check out the website, and there's a lot coming up, and I'm just glad. I'm thrilled that you did a review on Somewhere in the Middle and that you liked it.
Well, as I said, I love the song. I've listened to it since, and it is fantastic. And we wish you all the luck with that as well. I understand there's a couple more songs waiting for us on the MSI website.
Okay. Okay, great.
I don't know what they are. I'm not allowed to know because that's all part of it.
I don't know either.
It'll be a surprise for both of us.
Yeah.
Your kids are going off. Mine are going off as well.
All right, I'm being called away.
All right. Really nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us tonight. And
same to you, Ian. All right,
we'll
thanks
talk
so
again
much.
soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Believe in innocence. Somewhere in the middle. along for when you're drunk.